we are doing Beverly Hills. Let's get to the episode. I wasn't sure how I was going to do these recaps because the season has already progressed so far along. I already recapped the premiered episode when it actually came out, but I'm catching up now. So episode 2, we're introduced to Amanda Frances. Now, something I want to say right off the bat, she touts herself as a best-selling author. I mean, she's a best-selling author on Amazon.com and only under the category females in business. Now, I want to explain this from a literary sense so that people could understand, because I feel like a lot of the audience, they don't understand a lot of these hype words and vibes that, you know, people like Amanda Frances throws out there. Now, when I hear that you're a bestseller, I'm automatically thinking New York Times. And I think the majority of the people automatically think that too. Teresa Giudice, she's a New York Times bestseller. Heather Gay, she's a New York Times bestseller. Bethany Frankel, New York Times bestseller. Because when you are a New York Times bestseller, that is like prestige. You want to slap on that New York Times title. When I hear bestseller, I was thinking, well, where the hell is she a bestseller? And it was very surprising to me that I didn't hear New York Times bestseller. And I'm not knocking down Amazon because nowadays that's where everybody goes to get their book. But the category that she's the #1 bestseller Amazon.com author for is female business. It's a very subcategory, and the best way that I could try to explain this to a general audience is these very specific subcategories. When you are a self-publisher and you're on Amazon, you could put your category as anything. There's nobody there that's actually promoting you. You don't have any overhead because you're self-publishing. You only generate a book when somebody buys it. That's legit. I mean, when it comes down to it, that's really what self-publishing is. Now, she sells these courses. If part of her courses is a requirement that you buy her book, you know, that could drive up the volume. If you have a little pop-up table at local events, local small business owner events, at your freaking local whatever, and you buy these books yourself in bulks to sell them, that could drive up sales. I think the number she put was 133,000. I mean, who is able to verify that number? Someone at Amazon could verify it, but unless a Amazon executive is coming out to verify, yes, we've had this many books sold, it's very hard to tell if that number is legit or not. That is still something. That's still something that she gets to, you know, pat herself on the back and put a shining star up on a mantle about. Now, do I believe in that bullshit of manifesting being rich? No, because if I wanted to manifest anything, I would pray to God. People have different ways of manifesting whatever. Some people think that positive energy of just putting it out there will get it for you. Other people go more the spiritual route where they think that, you know, God is the almighty and God will deliver. So I totally get it. What I do knock is that, listen, do I personally think it's BS that you could go manifest yourself to be fucking rich? Yeah, I do. Because you can't just sit there and will it. If you're going to sit there and just will it for yourself, you might as well just say to God, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whoever, that you want to win the lotto. Because if you're just manifesting it, you're really just asking for a spiritual being to give you the piggy bank. So I feel like you have a better chance of just playing the lotto at that point. Concrete, tangible money, cash in hand. You need to do something besides from just dreaming about money or dreaming about how to spend money. Listen, I love the Golden Girls. I don't know if you guys watch the Golden Girls. I love the Golden Girls. In the later seasons, there was an episode where Rose Nyland convinces the girls to go to a positivity seminar, the self-help positivity BS, right? Even though it's Rose that are dragging the ladies to go to it, Dorothy is the one that gets kind of hooked into it. And Dorothy's so happy because I think she got like roast beef or something. And she shows Sophia, she's like, Mama, look, it worked. It said to think positive, and I went to the butcher, and the butcher's always giving me bad meat or a bad cut. But this time, when I went to the butcher, I thought to myself, this man is going to give me a good cut of beef or whatever it was that she wanted to go get. And she said, look, Ma, look, I got the good cut of beef. That reminded me of that episode. If you guys are a Golden Girls fan, you know exactly what episode I'm talking about. But yeah, that episode, I was like, what? This is an episode out of Golden Girls. Like, what the fuck do you mean she's the money queen? Like, what? Anyway, I have mixed feelings about this second episode. I thought the second episode was really good just because towards the end, Kyle opening up, even without her naming anyone, I'm sure we all know who she's talking about, but she doesn't name her. And, you know, Erica understands, and she says, Kyle says in her confessional, if it was just up to me. I don't have a problem with sharing, but I was in a relationship with someone who didn't feel the same way, who didn't want the scrutiny, the public scrutiny or whatever. So I feel like, okay, well, that makes sense that, Kyle isn't able to be as forthcoming about it. So I really did see it from Kyle's perspective. But also for myself personally, I am not invested in Kyle's life like that. Like, she's not my favorite character. I don't dislike her. I enjoy watching her on my TV. But at the same time, I'm not that invested in who she dates. I'm more interested in Erica and her relationship. We haven't really gotten into that. She told Bose about it. Episode 1, they were talking about it a little bit, but we haven't really gotten into their relationship yet. And I'm more interested in that. I'm not really interested in whether or not Kyle's a lesbian or bisexual or who she's dating. Bose is my favorite, but I gotta call her out in this episode. Now, when Amanda arrives to her first cast event, which is Jennifer Tilly's party, I love that Jennifer Tilly had these naked models, and then afterwards, instead of just kicking them all out, they were legit just like walking around, swimming in her pool, eating her good food. I'm like, Jennifer, you are so nice. You are such a gracious hostess. But anyway, they got paid for it too. Don't think that they were doing it for free. But so when Amanda, when she comes to this event and everything else, she talks a little bit about herself, and she says that she has 4 kids. I didn't like it that Bose was like, his kids. And she was saying like 2 of the kids are with her fiance. I didn't like that. And how she explained it was, if a stepmom was to call my daughter her child or her mom, this mom is going to have a problem. I get that, right? But Amanda wasn't saying like, I'm their mother or whatever. She was saying, our children. I don't see a problem with that. As a matter of fact, I respect that, because that shows Amanda isn't going around saying my fiance's children. Or when she gets married, I don't know if she already got married or if she's waiting for her second season to do that, but you probably don't want to be referred to as the stepchild or my my fiance's kids or whatever. From that perspective, I gotta call Bose out on it. It's weird. That's a little bit territorial and not in a good way. I don't feel like it was disrespectful to the biological mom, because she's not talking bad about the mother. She wasn't saying, yeah, the mom's a deadbeat and I'm the mother. She was just saying, our kids. And so kudos to you, Amanda. I see all the comments on social media where nobody could stand your ass and they think you're a con woman. You probably are, because I don't know how much you're charging for those damn, manifestation courses. You probably are scamming people, but you know what? Kudos to you, because at least you're not a shitty mom. I'll say that about you. At least you're not a shitty mom. So I got to call Bose out for that. It was a little weird. I didn't really like that energy. Too territorial. Now, I want to get to Dorit and PK. Kyle goes over to Mauricio's new bachelor pad, whatever. They talk a little bit, and Kyle talks to Mauricio about Dorit feeling whatever about PK. Mauricio's like, yeah, I don't think that Dorit is talking in reality, because that's not how I see PK as. Now, in fairness, though, boys stick together. They hung out together, whatever, Now, he's standing up for PK. And I think that Dorit, watching this episode, she will probably be like, you see how Mauricio stood up for PK because that's his boy? Yeah, you need to stand up to me like that to show me that I'm your girl. She's not going to talk like that because legit, she's got her weird, like Madonna British accent going on. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a fake accent, because look, if you've been somewhere long enough, you do pick up an accent. I haven't lived in New York City since I got married, which is quite a number of years ago, but I don't lose my accent. And when I get mad, you could really hear the New York in me. But normally, if I'm just talking normal, you're not going to be able to tell. And sometimes I want to put it on extra thick so that you know where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Watching that final scene at Jennifer Tilly's house, I don't think that Kyle should have said, well, we don't know if he does or if he doesn't. She shouldn't have said that. That was basically a foot in the mouth. But I feel like where she was coming from, though, made sense to me. And I feel like Dorit was kind of being a difficult parent, because what Kyle has said to her was, well, why don't you try to meet in the middle? Your children will still get to go to Florida and spend time with your parents. And, if he wants to stay in a hotel. Dorit, though, she was very reluctant. She was very heels dug in. She was like, he's doesn't want to go with his father. I don't necessarily believe that. I know parents say that, especially when they're going through a divorce, a custody battle, whatever. Listen, absentee does not erase that bond. I know that for a fact because my husband deploys like freaking every year. Like, he never sees his damn kids. But that doesn't make them not want their father. If anything, that makes them more attached to their father because like they see me every damn day and it's like I'm the one that gets on their nerves and it's like, oh, like, mom, go away. Go away, mom. So from my perspective, if you're not a shitty parent, if you're just an absentee parent, that doesn't necessarily make the heart grow less fonder because absence actually makes the heart grow more fonder. But at the same time, though, I kind of feel like, okay, PK, but if you never had a problem with your kids going to see their grandparents before, why are you making a big deal out of it now? Unless it was a situation where it's like, this is my visitation week or whatever, I don't understand why, unless it's just him being difficult. Whether PK goes there himself or not is irrelevant. It's whether your kids get to go there and spend time with their grandparents. So I understood it from Kyle's perspective. I'm sure that Dorit would still wish that Kyle rode for her the way that Mauricio's riding for PK, but she's not. But at the same time, though, I don't feel like Kyle is being unreasonable. And I think maybe Dorit, she doesn't really want a resolution. Maybe what she's really looking for is just to have a supported system that says, yeah, he's an asshole, he's a piece of shit, poor you. Just having people to listen to her while she rants, which is fine to an extent. You're allowed to be angry and to talk your shit. You're just ruminating on stuff because you are not being productive. I also see it from that perspective because even Bose, she also was basically agreeing with what Kyle was saying, but for some reason, Dorit is able to accept it a little bit better from Bose. But Bose, how she said it was perfectly, which is basically like, okay, there's a lot going on all at once, so let's handle the task at hand. We want to get your kids to Florida to spend time with their grandparents, which was exactly what Kyle was saying. But Kyle did kind of put her foot in her mouth because she didn't say it as simplified as Bose. Bose was just breaking it down Sesame Street style, and Kyle was adding a little bit too much info. She didn't need to add, we don't know if he is or if he isn't. I think that was the part that really triggered her. They're heading towards divorce. At this point, alimony is a little bit harder for her to get because I'm sure Dorit gets a very nice paycheck from Bravo. And in this day and age, alimony really comes down to child support because for the fact that she is getting a nice paycheck from Bravo, you can't keep saying that she's financially dependent on PK because I don't even know if PK has a job at this point, but whatever. Anyway, guys, let me know if you guys are watching the season. I'm still catching up and I'm going to watch episode 3. I'm going to binge watch the whole entire season until I'm caught up.